Implementing new technologies is a challenge. A common challenge for technology implementers is to oversee that users apply information and communication technologies as intended. For example, who have not experienced that students use Facebook groups to communicate with each other instead of doing the same thing on a school's learning management system? Also, implementation processes of technology can go differently as planned. For example, the intent behind a technology can be misunderstood, or end users might find better ways to use technologies. This means that to predict or plan implementation processes is demanding. And an implementation process is a process in itself. In it, new issues can arise that need to be managed. Therefore, to ensure successful implementation, organizations often invest in training programs and work with changing work culture among employees. Another challenge for implementers is that people can decide to use technologies in new and unexpected ways. This creates new user patterns and new work routines, which are observable in situations where people socially interact with technologies. Today, we see the emergence of new technology practices by use of digital technologies on an everyday basis. A common one is phubbing. It indicates an intimate use with cell phones where people start to ignore their surroundings. We have started to see this as an unpolite practice. In the classroom, you can also observe the same as your students stare on their laptops and not on you. So it is important for me, you, and us to have an understanding of unpredicted technology patterns that emerges from recursive technology use performed by people. You might need to track them and reflect upon what they mean. Therefore, we need to develop a strategy on how to track emergent user patterns coming from recursive use of technology. We must reflect upon our actions and technology use and apply a process perspective. A way to conceptualize recursive use of technology is to look at how the school calendar is organized. We can assume that you start in August and it ends in June the following year. This is common for the Norwegian education system. In other countries, it can be different. In an ideal learning world, the learning process should look like this: a fine, nice arrow stretching right up, forming along the X and Y axis in this diagram. Learning is rarely like this. It varies and is an uncontrolled radial wave. However, from it forms a process. To gain personal awareness of important social patterns or technology practices coming from recursive technology use, you can look and reflect upon at the various months during the school year. You can ask what becomes a new work routine or user pattern among your students. From a long-term perspective, we can assume a structuration process develops. To understand it, you perform an action and use the technology. You stop, think, interpret, do it again, over and over. Then, there is an ongoing mutual interaction between your actions and the digital technology you use. This shapes something, a social pattern that many people perform.